Well, in the first unit, you were introduced to the living leadership model. Now, this model focuses on tasks and task ownership. And the leader determines his or her leadership style based on the other person's ability and motivation levels. Now, the three key leader actions of the leadership model are assigning tasks, assessing performance, providing feedback. Now, in this unit, you will learn how to use the leadership model to assign tasks to others based upon their ability and their motivation levels. This will help you become more effective in assigning tasks and increase the likelihood of achieving your results. Now we have some folks that have joined us here today to help us on a special exercise. And each one of the participants has been provided with a blank sheet of paper and a pen. Folks, I'd like you to follow the instructions I'm going to give you to complete the exercise. You will not be given any additional information. Are you ready? On the piece of paper in front of you, I want you to follow my instructions and draw the geometric figure I will be describing, known as a triangle. Now, starting from the bottom left-hand corner of the page, at about 1 inch from the left edge and about 1 inch from the bottom of the page, I want you to draw a straight line parallel to the bottom of the page towards the right of the page. Each line about 1 inch from the right edge of the page and 1 inch from the bottom of the page. The line must be at the point I described and be as straight as possible. If the line is not straight, go over it with your pen a few times so that you can make it at least look straight. To draw straight lines, support your writing arm on the table as much as possible to give your hand support to provide enough pressure on the pen just to glide over the paper. To draw the left side of the triangle, start at about 1 inch from the top of the page and halfway between the right and left edge of the page, and draw a line to the end point of the line you drew parallel to the bottom of the page. Make sure that the left side of the triangle is as straight and as thick as the bottom side. To ensure that your lines are straight and of the same thickness, support your arm on the table as much as possible to give your hand support to provide enough pressure on the pen just to glide over the paper. If the line is not straight, go over it with your pen a few times just to make it look straight. Now, to draw the right side of the triangle, draw a line between the top end point of the left side of the triangle and the right end point of the bottom side of the triangle. Draw straight lines. Support your arm on the table as much as possible to give your hand support to provide enough pressure on the pen just to glide over the paper. If the line is not straight, go over it so that at least you make it look straight. There you are. Now, in this exercise, like the previous ones, I want you to follow my instructions to complete the task. We'll sketch a building that would successfully satisfy our needs. Did you get the tasks done? How did it make you feel to do these exercises? Has this ever happened to you? You see, when we are asked to do something, the amount of detail and explanation we need depends upon our experience in doing the task and our attitude towards the task. If we do not get the appropriate amount of detail, well, we may feel frustrated and resentful. Now, let me show you something called the Task Assignment Worksheet, and this is available for download. This tool is designed to help you through the key steps in assigning a task. It's said that around the time of the Second World War, military command devised a communication structure to provide soldiers with information during their training that would be understood and remembered once they landed in the theater of war. The structure was simply, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you just told them. Well, this structure here is slightly more sophisticated, and our research has shown that this is the way to convey information to individuals in a manner that gets them to listen to the information, to see the relevance in the message, and to remember the information. Here is the Task Assignment Worksheet. Let me just walk through it with you. It starts with the need or the problem. People like to know why a task needs to be done. What is the situation that requires action to be taken? Telling people why a task needs to be done sets the stage for asking them to do it. This doesn't have to be a long, involved history of the situation. And you should be able to state the issue or the problem in a sentence or two. What is the recommended action? State clearly and succinctly what it is you want the individual to do or what action you want the individual to take. And people are frequently confused when they are told about a situation requiring action, but they're not told specifically what they're required to do. Clarify the individual's assignment. Doing this will benefit you as well. See, provide enough information so that the individual understands the nature of the task. You can then provide more information a little bit later on. Well, the third step in assigning a task is to state the benefits to the individual in accomplishing the task. Will the completion of the task meet the individual's needs? If the benefit to the individual is not readily apparent, well, consider the benefits to the department or to the organization. This section is particularly important when dealing with an individual whose motivation is moderate M2 or low M1. The fourth step is to state what you would like to discuss with the individual. We call that the agenda. You must have decided what key information the individual needs to have in order to take the recommended action. Task details. The level of task detail will depend on the individual's ability and motivation level on this specific task. If the individual is A3 on this particular task, few details will be required. What are the results? And for some tasks, it will be necessary to establish expected results. Now, sometimes leaders are vague because they have not themselves thought through what their expectations are and don't really know what they're looking for in terms of a result. In establishing the result for the task, you need to let the individual know what outcome you expect, how success will be measured, and what is the time frame or the deadline. Next, what resources are available to the individual? Consider things like what other people might be able to help, what the budget is, equipment, who would be an expert on this subject matter, or any previous or similar tasks that they have completed. And finally, you need to make plans for contingencies. What should the individual do if something goes wrong, and what should the individual look out for? How could this be avoided? What might happen? Will the individual know if something goes wrong? You see, as a leader, you have a better perspective on problems that might arise in carrying out this task, and help the individual then prepare and deal with them. There are a number of benefits to both the individual and the leader in discussing contingencies on tasks that might be complex or where the individual is low at the ability level.